These are all the parts that you should find in your bag. The LED with the batteries, the end cap for the LED, the backside and the front of the core of the Ghost, the little diffuser that goes in front of the LED, 4 little clamps that you combine with the winglets. Some of these pegs, there should be more than 4, but all you need is 4 in total. These are the tips for your winglets, the top, front, top back, bottom, front and bottom back. And finally the winglets themselves. You can get the LED working by unscrewing it counterclockwise, and then underneath the batteries are covered basically by this little white disc. Once you remove it, put the batteries back and put everything back together. Once you put everything back together, screw them clockwise, and the battery should contact the LED so that it starts lighting up, and then it should change colors automatically. You turn it off by just screwing it, unscrewing it counterclockwise again. Then you want to find the backside of the core. It has a little slot on the outer side and this little slot on the inside. You combine it with the LED like this, and this will help you turn on and off the LED once the Ghost is assembled. Find the backside of the Ghost shell and insert the backside of your LED like this, so that it protrudes from the other end, and it should be moving freely. Now you take 4 of these pegs. You might need to trim them a little bit so you can fit them in each of these little 4 holes that are on the one side of the core. Alternatively, if the pegs don't work, you could use toothpick, cut to size. Once you fully assemble the core, make sure your LED still works by turning it on. The pegs should friction fit so that you can undo the core in order to change the battery should it run out. Next up is the visor. It should be a press fit in the front of the Ghost. Make sure that the line of the visor is up, down, or left, right, depending on your preference. Otherwise it will look crooked and not match up with the little winglets. The winglets need some cleaning up. You best use a sharp knife or a file or both. These little spaghetti that come out of it, you can just rub them off with your fingernail or use a knife for it. And then these little discs that are in the bottom are print supports. You can just shear them off, trim them off, cut them off with a knife, with a pair of scissors, or try prying them off. They should come off very easily. They're not needed for the remainder of the assembly. By now you should have realized that you have 2 different sets of winglets. You have these guys that are kind of like separated from one another, and then you have the ones that have a hole in the tip. We want to work with these ones first. Grab one of these clamps, and then you want to slot it in like this so that it clamps down on the winglet itself. Should be a friction fit, no super glue needed. These little red triangles should have a little circle at one of the ends. Make sure you pay attention to that if you will. They should friction fit into the winglets with the little knob on top, but make sure you use some super glue to not lose them. They sit a little bit loose. Once you have all 4 pairs of winglets prepared, you can attach them to the core. On my Ghost, I used these neodyme magnets so that I can remove them if I need to. They're available at Home Depot for, I think it was like 15 or 20 bucks or something like that. And it's 80 in a can, so it should be more than enough. The little cutout that's in the winglets is where the magnet would go. Your final product will look like this. Now, this one is my painted Ghost, so it's a little different white than yours. and then on the ghost itself it just snaps into place because the other side of the magnet is attached to the core. Make sure you pay attention to the direction of how you glue your magnets in, otherwise they will not attract itself, but the opposite direction basically. The black and white winglets should be your left and right, front and back, and then the winglets with the red tips should be on the top and on the bottom. If you don't want to go with a magnet version, you can just super glue them in place. Just make sure to not cross the core halves so that you can still split this thing open should you want to be able to replace the batteries.